All right, welcome back to Target Ed. I've been getting this question a whole lot. What are the standard practices of the champions that you've interviewed over the last couple years? In fact, what are the champion lessons that you've gotten over the last couple decades of being in the shadows of history with people like the President of the United States, movie stars from all over the last couple decades? And I can honestly tell you it boils down to 10 things, and I'm going to give you a couple of those things today. The first one is one that we hear all the time. It's that person I know was so close to success, but they stopped. For whatever the reason is, they stopped because they didn't have enough money. They didn't have enough time, whatever other excuse that they made, because they didn't want to take the risk to actually have the reward. So don't stop. Whatever it is that you think is important enough to do, you need to go after it. There's a lot of people that will tell you this. The billionaires will tell you this. If you use Chat GPT or any other product and you put in billionaire lessons, one of the top things is everyone stops before the finish line. Don't do that. You're going to hear story after story, and we're going to cut them into this session.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed.
Rock bottom is probably one of the most beautiful places a human being can find themselves.
Why is that?
Because you have, when you hit that, you realize you get to start all over fresh. Every mistake you've ever made can be undone. And I don't care how bad you have fucked things up. You can undo it. You can come back from it, and you get a clean slate.
I am doing I'm doing whatever I love day by day by day by day. There's just no reason to look at any minuses in life and to focus on that. It would be crazy. So
what I found was you don't have to be the best fighter. You just have to keep coming back. You keep coming back, that guy's like, he's crazy. You don't want to fight you now. You know what I mean? And at that age, then you start becoming friends, right? But then I would see other kids get bullied. And I hate bullies. I hate bullies with a passion. So I go try to help that kid. I'll get my whooped again. But you know, there's that stuff. Like I said, I'm not a great fighter, but I was never scared to back down. I never backed down.
Yeah, I have the saying, I love saying it, the difference between being brave and stupidity is often the outcome.
Every single day. Every single day. Every single day. Every single day. No matter what.
The second thing, fake it till you make it, is a common saying, but it's stupid. The reason why is you shouldn't fake it. If you actually believe you can do it, you need to put that inside of your mind and inside of your actions. It's not faking it if you know you're going to make it. And that's the difference between the people that we interview and the people that are on the free podcasts that no one watches. This show became very popular because it doesn't hold any bars. There's a lot of truth in the mess that becomes a message. And if you're listening closely, everyone had to go through their insecurities in order to make it to something that was extremely successful. And that is not something everyone can do. That's often what separates champions from chumps. And that is the second lesson that I will always see come out in a lot of these conversations. And we'll cut some of those in now.
Belief in oneself and knowing who you are. I mean, that's the foundation of everything great. I think the most important lesson for me would be just be true to yourself. You know, it sounds like a very simple thing to do, but it's not. It's not simple to do with all the pressures to succeed and all the pressures to, once you succeed, to stay there. You have a belief in yourself, and sometimes, in most cases, it's a naivete about who you are and what you can contribute to the game.
To most people, had the trappings of a guy that was fairly successful. And I really just felt like a fraud. I mean, I knew what was going on inside. I was really, really struggling with alcohol. I was overweight. I was really hanging on to my job by a thread. And my wife, God bless her, she said, listen, I love you more than anything. And please tell me I didn't back the wrong horse. And it just cut to the quick. You know, she never threatened to leave me. She never yelled at me. And I was like, I am not going to drag this amazing woman down because I can't get a hold of my emotions. And that began a journey of me completely changing my life.
When did you realize that discipline was more important in some cases than talent?
I think the more I listen to a lot of like Jocko.
Yeah.
I listen to even Joe Rogan at times will like really get some good stuff out. Goggins, obviously. DJ Shipley is, I think, amazing at what he's, his micro wins. I followed that pattern when I went through my injury. Him and then Huberman. I combined I ripped from all of them and formed this, and then stuck to it. I do it all the time.
Got to take this from General Patton. General Patton went around the battleground and he asked the people that were fighting, what do you need? What is the thing that's keeping you from preventing yourself from taking the enemy down? And he came up with something on the battleground where he found truth. And it's what we often call ground truth. What you'll see in Ground Truth of Champions is they become really in tune with who they are.
Back to your question, you got to be there for yourself, because when you're doing this rebuilding, nobody's going to pick you up off the mat. And you go through these stages of awakening or reckoning or rearranging, where it's like, okay, I'm the only one that's going to make sense of this.
Say that again, because that needs to be heard. You're the only one that's going to make sense of this.
Yeah, I'm the only one that's going to make sense of this and figure out what direction to go in, right?
Who they are, not who their mom says they are, who their wife says they are, who other people say they are, who they are. It becomes clear day by day and action by action. The problem with a lot of people that aren't on this show is they aren't taking those actions because they don't believe in themselves enough to have ground truth in the mirror.
If you had one pearl of wisdom that you could impart on everyone in this community, everyone who's trying to make it to that next level and beyond, what would you say to them?
Well, once you set a goal and you achieve that goal, you got to set another goal.
When did you start realizing that training was more important than the tools? Like, what age were you?
So I've always been like a gun advocate, shot, plinked around, but it wasn't until just about 3 years ago probably that I really got like learning to draw, running, going different, like actually training for real life situations. And
it's the craziest thing. Like, you see somebody successful and you say, hey mister, how would I do this? And if they give you advice, do that.
Success really leaves clues.
Yeah.
And you can ask questions afterwards, normally, if you follow the advice. It's a super life hack. I'm glad we uncovered that on the show. And I'm going to close I'm not going to ever record any other episodes because I'm doing that.
You know, life is going to kick you. Life is always going to kick you. It ain't going to destroy you if you don't let it. Go like this to life and keep right on going.
Ground truth exists where you make it. The grass is greener on the other side, right? No, the grass is greener where you water it. So start looking in the mirror. Bruce Lee says, never say a bad thing to yourself. Start in that mirror, find your ground truth, and actually go after it. Those are the top 3 standard practices that I'm going to share with you from Targeted Podcast. I hope you enjoy the clips. Thanks again for making us a top 1% show on YouTube. And until next time, aim for excellence and stay on target. I'm Atlas Aultman.
Stay with us as we stay on target with another awesome episode coming up next. We'll see you there. And subscribe to Targeted now As an ambassador to buckedup.com, I get to give you our special discount. That's Atlas25 when you go to buckedup.com to get that special discount. Only for our listeners, Atlas25. Go to buckedup.com now.
Entrepreneurs, you're wasting money. Are you paying for TV, radio, maybe even newspapers? I gotta tell you, that's all dead. What's new? Well, I'm glad you asked, Atlas. It's podcasting. Just so happens I have a very successful podcast that I can put you on. And we're looking for guests, so if you have a product or service that will help people, hit us up. Atlas Aultman Targeted Podcast. We bring new audiences to new people, and we bring new people to, well, you check us out.